So, good morning, Monday morning. Good morning to Class 4R at Ribbleton Avenue, Methodist Junior School, and to your teacher, Miss Egg. Thank you very much for getting in touch with me. It's Monday morning. I'm very happy to be answering your questions because it is a great excuse for me to not actually have to get on with writing my next book. Because, my name's Alistair Humphreys, by the way. I'm an adventurer and a book writer. I'm the author of The Boy Who Biked the World book, which you are reading or maybe just read. I don't know if you've moved on to number 2 yet, or even number 3, or who knows? Look, I've got loads of books. Maybe read this one. Great Adventurers, My Adventure Heroes. Who knows? Anyway, I'm a book writer and I'm answering these questions of yours on Monday morning, partly because they're very good questions and you're reading this book at school, but also because I'm quite lazy and answering questions is easier and more fun than getting on and writing my next book. So thank you for helping me skive my work for a little while. Right. You, however, have been working very hard and you've sent me lots of excellent questions. So I will stop faffing around wasting time and get on and answer your questions. Here we go. Dylan and Lewis ask, how long did it take for you to become an author? I don't know if anyone's ever asked me that before. So I cycled around the world and then I came home and I had a cup of tea and brushed my hair, and I then thought, right, I'm going to start writing a book. So I sat down and started writing a book about cycling around the world. Writing a book's hard work. It took me about a year to write, but just because you've written a book doesn't really mean you're an author, because you still have to publish it. You have to turn it from just writing on your computer into an actual book. So I sent my book off to lots of different book publishers and they all rejected it. They said, nah, we're not interested in someone cycling around the world. We don't want this book. So I had about a year of trying and failing to do that, and no one wanted to publish my book. So I got quite sad and I thought I'd failed, and it was not very good feeling, really. And so in the end, I decided to self-publish it, to basically make the book myself and sell it on the internet. So I did that, did it all myself, and it started to sell okay. And enough people bought it so that publishers thought, actually, maybe we should publish a book. So then my second book, a publisher took on. So it took quite a long time to actually get going as being an author. But now I try to write one book a year. That's my challenge to myself, to write one book each year. I failed last year thanks to good old COVID, but generally one book a year. Next question from Kushi. Was it hard to travel around the world? Yes, it was very hard, but I kind of like that. I like journeys that are hard. If you're on a journey that's easy, I feel that's just going on holiday, which is good fun, of course, but it's not an adventure. An adventure needs to be hard. You need to be pushing yourself and struggling a bit and not knowing if you'll fail or succeed. So yeah, adventures are definitely hard. Safia says, when did you start writing? When I cycle around the world, I wrote diaries every day in kind of little paper books like this sort of thing. I would write with my very messy handwriting. Oh, there's a map in there of what I'd been up to every day. So I'd write my diaries, and then when I got home, I had to copy up all my diaries onto the computer and gradually try and turn those into a story. And so the book, I'd already been writing lots of notes for it before I actually began writing it. Dylan R says, did you run out of food on your journey? You don't want to run out of food when you're riding a bike a very long way, because you burn up so much energy, you get really hungry. But quite often I just had to eat random stuff, whatever I could find in little shops along the way. And sometimes I was going slowly, so I couldn't get to a shop for a long time. So riding through the mountains in South America, I had to carry food for about 10 days on my bike, but it was taking longer than it should through the mountains. So I started to really run out of food. And for a couple of nights, I had to have pasta with sugar for my tea, which is not very healthy, but actually quite nice. Once in Egypt, I completely ran out of food. I was really hungry, and a kind man gave me some bread, some flat Arabic bread, which was really nice, flat bread and an onion. So I had onion sandwiches that day, which also were not very nice, but good energy to keep you going. Once in Alaska, North America, a car stopped and a lady got out and she had a big pile of takeaway pizzas for a family. And she gave me a takeaway pizza in the middle of Alaska. Can you imagine how delicious that was? The strangers around the world that just were so kind to me. That was one of the very best things of cycling around the world. Natalia, how did you cross the seas? Well, Natalia, when you read book 2, you'll find out. On boats is the answer. Caitlin says, when did you travel around the world? I traveled around the world when I was 24. So I went to school, then I went to university, and I trained to be a teacher. But being a teacher is really hard work. So make sure you're all very nice to Miss Eglin. And also you should ask the school to give her a pay rise. So being a teacher is very hard work. And I was a bit lazy and I thought, easier than being a teacher will be cycling around the world. So I decided then to stop being a teacher and go cycle around the world instead. So I was 24 when I set off, 29 when I got home. Husna says, have you written other books? Very good question. I've written 13 books. In fact, look, I said at the start that I was trying to waste time from writing my book because writing book is lazy. Writing book is difficult and I'm lazy. It's like when you got to do homework and suddenly you just want to do anything except that. Last week, to help me get out of writing my own book, I decided to tidy up my bookshelves because they're a bit messy. And I thought, I'll tidy my bookshelves. That will help me get out of writing for a bit. So I made a pile there, that pile there. They're all the books that I've written. 13 books I've written so far. Luca, did you run out of water on your journey? You really don't want to run out of water. That's even worse than running out of food. But sometimes I was pretty down on water and I had to drink quite dirty water from rivers or lakes. I filled up my water from an animal trough a couple of times and I had chemicals you could put in it to purify it. And then in terms of kind strangers, I was in Kazakhstan and I completely ran out of water. So I had the whole night with no water. The next day I had no water. I was really, 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 really thirsty. I was in a desert, a windy, cold desert. And a lorry passed me on this bumpy track. And randomly it just stopped. And they gave me a big 2-litre bottle of Coca-Cola and drove off. Amazing. So kind. That was very delicious Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, by the way, is very unhealthy and will rot your teeth. But when you have it in a desert, it tastes delicious. Ruby says, how did you find your way home? I used a map to navigate and really just would ask directions for people or follow the road signs and little by little navigate my way from city to city to country. Salisha says, what is it like to be an author? I love being an author because I really love reading books myself. I love learning about travel and adventure and just learning about things that interest me and then writing about them later. So these days I've got really interested in nature, but I don't know much about nature. So I'm spending a lot of time out in nature and a lot of time reading books about it so that I can start to write about that myself. So being an author is a brilliant way to write about things that interest you. And it's a great way then to learn without the sort of boring side of learning. You're just really enjoying finding out things that are fascinating. So I really like that part of being an author. I really like that I can work in my shed here where I work. This is where I do my work. It's in my garden, so I don't have a long travel to work. I'm my own boss, so I can just work when I want, and I can spend a lot of time drinking coffee. Oh, it's cold. I spend a lot of time drinking coffee. It's a pretty relaxed job. So I love that. I love those things. The downsides are it's quite hard to earn a living from writing. You have to really either write a brilliant book or write loads of books to earn money from it. So I also get money from other things. I make some films about adventures. I give talks to businesses and about companies about adventures, and that helps pay the bills. So it's quite hard to earn a living from adventure, but it's a really nice job. I love it. Cherry, what made you want to ride around the world? I wanted to go to new places. I grew up in the north of England, not too far from you guys, actually, but I was lucky. I was in Yorkshire, not Lancashire. And I wanted to see, I loved it there, but I wanted to see different countries and different cultures and see how different people lived in different parts of the world. So I was curious, and being curious is a really important thing for an adventurer and also for an author. And I wanted to go and explore and see new places. Akyle, sorry if I said that wrong. Akyle said, did you get tired of riding your bike? Yeah, I did get pretty bored. I mean, 4 years on a bike on your own, no friends, no families. So it was hard work. So I did get a bit, I did get tired of it and a bit bored. But also I got tired, as in I got tired out as well from riding a long way. But you also get really fit as well. Umar, can you make a bike that would travel on water? Well, if you Google that, you'll see they do actually exist, but very slow. I crossed the water by boat. Rakim said, did you ride a BMX? No, I had a mountain bike, but I had it so it's fixed with the bags fitted onto it on the front wheel and on the back wheel so that I could carry my camping gear. Jacob says, how old are you? What country do you live in? I'm 44 years old. Look, I'm getting a grey beard now. This is bad news. Oh, look, I'm getting grey here. Getting very, very wrinkly. Do I look 44? My teeth haven't fallen out yet, but I'm getting pretty old. What country do you live in? I live in England still. Ruben, how long did it take you to bike around the world? 4 years. And he says, what was your favourite food? Oh, food. When you're cycling and traveling, food's such a brilliant thing. So I loved food in loads of countries. I loved cycling through the Middle East, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, Sudan, where you can buy hot, fresh flat bread cooked every morning from little bakeries on the street. I love that. I love the food in South America, the barbecues in Argentina. I really enjoyed the sushi in Japan. I've got sushi on my mug. Chinese food, a lot of us know about that. Delicious noodles in Central Asia, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, really spicy noodles. Ooh. And then Georgia, a country I didn't know much about. It's got really, really delicious food. Oh, I'm actually hungry. When I finish this, the next way I'm going to waste time from writing my book is I'm going to have a cup of tea and make some toast. Sri, how many countries did you visit? I've been to about 90 or something now, but cycling around the world was about 60 countries. Lily, what cool things did you see? Oof, well, I don't want to give away a spoiler, so I'll talk about where you've read so far. I saw the River Nile in Africa. I saw Petra, the ruins in Jordan, Baalbek in Syria, the beautiful mosque, the Blue Mosque in Istanbul, and Hagia Sophia, fantastic sites there. Lalibela, Google that, amazing rock churches in Ethiopia. I saw lots of cool things. Nicola, what inspired you to write a book? Well, before I wanted to write books, I loved reading books. Reading books is always something I've enjoyed. It's a brilliant way to travel around the world, to learn about sport or music or nature or history or warfare or cheese or whatever interests you. So reading books is a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant thing to do. If you read a book every day or read some of a book every day, then you will do so well at school and in life. It's really, honestly, an amazing thing to read books. And I loved reading travel books. A lot of these books that I've got here are travel and adventure books. These yellow magazines are quite famous. You can find them often in charity shops and eBay. National Geographic magazines full of beautiful pictures from amazing corners of the world. So I was inspired to write a book by reading so many books. Luca, what was your favorite country? Now, that is an impossible question that I get asked a million times, and every time I give a different answer. Today, because it's quite cold and misty and autumn, I'm thinking, I'd quite like to be somewhere warm and sunny with a nice, warm, sunny ocean. So today I'm going to choose America, maybe, as my favorite country, the beaches of California. And I loved America. There's so many good, kind, friendly people there. But actually, there were good, kind, friendly people everywhere. I've got a map of the world up here I'm looking at now. The people in Russia were really kind. The people in the Middle East, Egypt or Lebanon were so kind. So it's really hard to choose a favorite country. Ruben, would you do it again? No. 4 years on a bike, 4 years without your friends, 4 years without your family, 4 years with very little money, sleeping in a tent, eating banana sandwiches. That was a long time. So no, I don't think I would do it again. I'm very glad I did it once, though. Someone said, did you miss your family? Yes, very much so. Keenan, were you stressed? No, I think actually one of the good things of being an adventurer and of being a writer now is that I don't really get stressed in life. I like to make my life hard. I challenge myself. I try and do things that are difficult to learn more, but I don't really get stressed. How do you feel being on your own through the whole journey? Sometimes I was lonely and sad and missed my friends. But sometimes it's great to be on your own. You can sing loudly whenever you want. You can get up whatever time you want and go to bed whenever you want, and no one's bossing you around. And also when you're on your own, you meet loads of interesting people as well. So I think being on your own, it's a bit of a scary way to travel, but it's a really good way to go and have an adventure too. Did you meet anyone you keep in contact with? Yeah, I met so many people, and some of them I would stay in contact with for a while, but over time that would often drift away. There are a few people that I still get emails from, or I see them on Facebook and see what they're up to, what their lives are up to, and that's really nice to see as well. Whew. Well, that's all your questions. They were fantastic questions. Thank you very much for all those questions, and I hope that thank you for reading my book. I hope you've been enjoying it. I hope it's giving you some ideas of adventures. I hope it might make you want to read some other books, and maybe it might even want you to write some stories of your own. So here's a challenge for you. I'm going to set you a challenge to answer this question, which is, how do you think the book will end? The story of me, or the boy called Tom, the story cycling around the world. How do you think it will end? Will I make it around the world? Will I survive? What will happen? Will there be challenges, difficulties? What lessons will I learn along the way? How will I feel if I get to the end, or if I fail? How do you think the book will end? Have a go and let me know. Thank you so much for reading my book, and good luck with all of your own adventures. I'm off now to have some tea and toast. Goodbye. Thank you.